Hello, everyone. Uh, am I audible? Yes? Okay. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. I will have a talk about Xerdi's documentation project and its biggest challenge, intertwined documents. But first, I will talk about Xerdi, really short, I hope. Then also the Xerdi documentation project. Afterwards, I will give a small moment for some questions if something's unclear about the project, and then I will present the intertwined documents and how it's done. So I founded my sole proprietorship in 2021. I mostly conclude assignment agreements as a software engineer, and if time permits, I also create free software. That's the thing I most likely do, or that I enjoy the most. I also am engaging actively with the fast communities, free and open source software communities, like NTG, the Dutch tech user group, also the tech user group, also the Free Software Foundation. And for my clients who are in need of a secure system, and yeah, I've partnered with Red Hat. I learned a lot of them. They're very helpful in learning how to deploy secure systems in a professional situation. But what about LaTeX? I have created 3 packages, and I also adopted one, which is a format count. Format count is heavily used in package regulatory, and regulatory is the main package or the most used package in the end of the presentation. Actually, all of those packages will be used very much. This is how I manage my packages. I just do an update, submit it to C10. C10 just delivers it to Tech Live, and then it gets back to me as a system package. So I could do 40 minutes about this alone, but I have written packaging guidelines, which I will share in the article of this presentation. So the goals of the Xerdi documentation project are straightforward writing in LaTeX, so it should be easy for every user to just typeset documents in an easy way. Everything which is developed in the Xerdi documentation project, I try to extract into separate components, and so it will end up in packages, and then I upload it into C10 with the public license, of course, the LaTeX public license. And I also favor integration options because I'm a software engineer. I want to automatically just generate those documents from a system trigger or something else. So the use cases for me are well, scientific reports or technical reports, office documents like letters and stuff, and the most challenging legal documents, and also music scores and diagrams. So the challenges specifically for me were managing multiple company brands. So I have some clients which just have a totally different branding. So um, I used to distinguish those with the TEXMFHOME variable. Can you raise your hand if you know about this specific variable, the TEXMFHOME variable? Okay, luckily some. Yeah, it's really easy because it works for all your documents, and you can also switch the variable. So I could just switch to another client's branding, and then the documents will turn out with their branding. I also use work in progress package versions. For example, if a package of mine isn't working, I just have to patch it, and then I have to use my work in progress of the package. I use the TEXMFDOTDIR for that one. It's suitable for some slimmer document structures. So it's not a TDS like the TEXMFHOME one. I also had to separate sensitive content. So for the use case in the end, for example, a lawyer doesn't or may not know any financial details of its clients or of its customers. So those have to be separated just so that the lawyer doesn't see those sensitive content. Also specifying data input, which is quite a challenge. In earlier stages, I just mixed programming languages and LaTeX in each other. That's not desirable. It's typesetter unfriendly. I will also demonstrate the solution for that. And traceability and audit log, well, that's something I won't be discussing here. The solution is very simple. It's called Git. So for those goals, I came up with some distinct components. Well, Workspace is just for data and some user variables, nothing special. Then I came up with data definitions, which are actually YAML recipes. It's a concept of Lua placeholders. It's specifically for specifying which input is allowed, or if it isn't provided, the input, how it should be placeholdered. Then I came up with a document portfolio. It's just really simple. This is the TEXMFHOME directory. So this contains all branding stuff, which is separated from Workspaces, data definitions. And lastly, executable document templates. Those are used to, those can be used cross clients. So they are separate from the branding, separate from the input specification, or actually it has one or more input specifications, and it will be used eventually in the workspace in a decentral manner. So this is the diagram which illustrates it. So this part is part of my profession, software engineering, and here is the XDP layer. It contains those components. It's specifically meant for the world of the typesetter, and also it's common for authors to write executable document templates. They are the content matter experts at hand, and the end user just should input some variables which it wants, and then he will get a PDF out of it. So The workflow behind it is quite bureaucratical. I can go quickly through it. So the author drafts an EDT, like Executable Document Template. He submits it via Git. He gets it reviewed by the typesetter. So the typesetter then decides, is the style and branding in order? If not, he revises it, and also he checks if the document portfolio is up to date or compatible. And optionally, he also updates the documentation project and will get back to the author. So the next time it will get to the programmer. He reviews the data definitions. So if there are new variables or other things, he just updates those. And also he aligns it with the systems, which isn't included in this workflow, because it doesn't have to do with LaTeX at all. Easy, right? This is an example of the directory structure. As you can see, it doesn't contain the workspace. The workspace is separate from the TEXMFHOME. So here I also showed it. So it contains all executable document templates. If you have it on this level, it will be available from everywhere. Also counts for the data definitions. And just for styling stuff, we have the generic images, and for literature and also definitions, I use it for, or a glossary. You can also have this one globally available. And of course, the class files and the style files. And to show how I use my work in progress packages for every project I work on, I just add one directory which isn't TDS compliant. However, I make it available through the TEXMFDOTDIR, which you can notate as such. The / means just get every directory in packages. It has some limitations. Not every package structure or source structure is suitable for this approach. Like format count isn't compatible, but all my packages are. Details will be also in the packaging guidelines. Now, how do we test this or set it up? Well, I usually use make. I also have some other useful exports. So you can just set an environment variable. And I've also included a little test target. And to test those configurations, we use KPSE which. We check the var value, for example, TEXMFDOTDIR. And we also test some files like a style file or a Lua file. And then it ends up like something like this. Unfortunately, I can't make directory paths appealing. But yeah, you can just see that it works. Okay. Wow, perfect in time. So I showed how you can use multiple company brands using work in progress package versions and separating the sensitive content by the diagram structure. So are there some questions by now?
Plenty of time, 20 minutes for question.
Yeah. I'll get to the next subject. So it's good to know that this is okay. I will continue then.
Please continue.
So onto the final subject. The legal solution for my company, I came up with a very slim input approach. I just want to write a message in Markdown, or, well, for me, TEG is also easy enough. And the project YAML, which contains a lot of variables. And those two files alone, given that you have the appropriate executable document templates, you will get the quote, an assignment agreement, a maintenance agreement, and terms and conditions. So let's go to the first file, input file. So this is just a small Markdown file. It just explains the general meaning of the project. It doesn't have to do anything about LaTeX, and this is just some text. So I'll skip this through. Okay. Here we go to the project YAML. This is the most important one. You can set the client, like I choose client grapefruit. It won't end up with grapefruit lowercase, but grapefruit refers to a client file, which also has its own recipe, which I will clarify in a bit. So it has the starting date, price, effort, all kinds of project-specific settings, but most importantly, it's about activities and or maintenance. So if activities is present, an assignment agreement will get generated and included in the quote. And if a maintenance variable is available, there is also a maintenance agreement compiled and added to the quote. And both those agreements also include the terms and conditions. So now to how to define it. This is a recipe for, this is the first part of the recipe project. I will skip the client and I will also skip the supplier. You can, the supplier is optional. It just defaults to Xerdi for people who have multiple departments, which is for me not the case. You can also override it. Then, this one is really simple. It just refers to a string, and it has no default value, so it will error if you forget this one. This is but it just refers to some other recipes. Now to the project itself, just for the most important ones. The activities, as you saw at the input, it was of type list, and it contained strings. And the maintenance, somewhat more complex. It is a table structure, and at the last, you can also see, you can also use a default value for that one. So you can skip that column. Now, how to load these things in LaTeX. This could also be a style file in the definition of data definition directory. It's here. It says it's just in the assignment. Well, actually, all three legal documents have the same strategy. So you use package Lua placeholders. You set the most used namespace for convenience. You load all three recipes, so the supplier, client, and the project. And then we'll take a look at the how to load those variables. So we check firstly, is there a project YAML? Well, if there is, then load that project YAML. And also, when we have loaded that, we could also load the supplier, which we have which we use raw param for. So raw param is specifically suitable for these kinds of cases where you have to, well, it's a expansion related issue. If you have trouble with expansions, this is far away the safest to use. It doesn't generate any placeholder as such, so be aware of that. And also, if it has a client, we will load the client file as well. If it doesn't, well, we'll print a warning, and it shows placeholders instead. So this is what we end up with. As you can see, it has two attachments, and those two attachments also have an attachment which is the terms and conditions. I did my best to translate this one into English. It also got the referencing to English. Unfortunately, we won't see the magic of format count here. And you also see here, like the footnote. Yeah, we'll have a look at how this contextual content is managed in LaTeX. So it's quite easy. You can just look if there is any activity or activity is a set. Then, well, document.org is just Xerdi in this case. It just has some legal content. Here is how you do a footnote. It says OVO, which, well, in this case, we're talking about the assignment agreement. Then we also see some usage of variables. And let me look. Yeah, here is a specific reference, an external reference, like it's referring to a specific section in the assignment agreement. So let's go back how that ends up. Like it says, Article 1, and then within parentheses 5. So that's this macro is from Package Regulatory. It's very useful, especially for Dutch. I have to verify the English version still. Then we see how we can list those activities all in once, and it refers to this macro. And you'll see here how it ends up in alphabetic listing. So this is the contextual content. Now, I don't have the exact examples. You can always look at Package Regulatory at how you can do it. The macros you can use for it is ref document, which is a soft dependency, and the master document, which is a very hard dependency. It also embeds the other file. So the ref document only is only for referencing, so you only need the aux file, the auxiliary file. So this is the hierarchy, and there's one line missing, like the terms and conditions is also, of the quote is also referring to the terms and conditions, or could be. So the quote contains two documents directly, and in this case, also those to also contain the terms and conditions. So terms and conditions is embedded twice via the agreements, and this will end up with a 370 kilobyte PDF. So it's quite small, I guess. Small enough for me. Okay, the underlying packages I've used for this, like those three, are heavily used in package regulatory. It uses attach file 2 for embedding, Xref for advanced referencing. Like you saw, it uses multiple section info or levels, and XR for referencing cross-document. Also, I'd like to highlight package markdown. I very much tested it for the legal solution. However, it's quite hard to do some tricky things which are easy in LaTeX, but not in Markdown, because Markdown is a pretty simple format. Viet, who talked yesterday, also had some awesome referencing additions to the package Markdown, which are beneficial to the package regulatory. And also Tech for HD. I've collaborated with Michael Heftig from Czech Republic. He wrote some support for the legal structuring of the regulatory package, which is very useful, for example, terms and conditions, which you'd like to display on your website. So that's all for now. Thank you for listening.
Any questions? Talking about Markdown.
Yeah.
Markdown can include Markdown versions.
Yeah, but it's quite unusual to use math in in legal documents.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have lots of notes.
Yeah, footnotes and also references, external references, and
Tech is then ideal.
sorry?
Tech is then ideal.
Yeah, tech is real ideal, and that's also why I used tech for the contracts in the first place. For the contract maker I'm working with for this, I thought, well, if there's any system which can do those references automatically, it must be tech. So I had to write a package for it, or actually 3 to get myself to have it on my own standards. But yeah.
Hi. I mean, in the beginning, you had mentioned that you also use this to make music scores and diagrams. Could you say something about that? I mean, how do you render music scores and stuff? Thanks.
Okay. Quite recently, I wrote a patch for LilyPond, so which is used for displaying scores or specifying scores, and that patch makes it how do you call it? The tech directory structure compatible. So there's still an issue. It only has to be released and then uploaded to C10, and then everyone can do some scores in a multi-directory structure. Also, I use a lot of TXI, not for scores, but for circular representations of music theory. Yeah, that's most I think about the music part. I also combine it with astrology. There's a research like I'm getting back to the roots of music, so I combine all those things.
Very interesting. That thank Erik for a talk. We have a 30 minutes break.